Bam. Bam. My peoples. My peoples. Tank Davis and Lamont Roach. They're supposed to have a rematch. And very much anticipated. People want to see it. We know how the first fight played out. Knee gate, Tank Davis taking a knee, the grease in the eyes, and the controversy with the decision. People saying Tank Davis was gifted a draw. Well, rematch is clearly very much anticipated for a reason. But it seems like it's being delayed. So, the magic question. The magic question. Is the Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach rematch actually going to happen, my peoples? Panty Sniffer, good morning, my brother. Bam, salute, my G. Y'all see it. Welcome to another episode of Boxing for Breakfast, where you get your healthy dosage of sweet science early in the morning. My peoples, Tank Davis and Lamont Roach, what's going on with that? People don't realize, but something is off about this fight, about the way that things are progressing. And I have a reason why I'm saying this. I want you to consider this. Brian Norman Jr. versus Devin Haney is happening in November, right? They're already having the first press conference on Friday. Way in November. And on Friday, they're having a presser. So, when are Tank Davis and Lamont Roach going to fight? We don't see no press conferences. We don't see no face-offs. We're not seeing no promotional content out there about this rematch. When are they going to fight? The Nobody 92, my peoples. My peoples. Jay Smith voice, what's the deal, my G? Bam, appreciate you dropping in, my brother. So again, I think it's rather suspicious, to say the least, that Tank Davis, is supposed to be fighting this very much anticipated rematch that a lot of people talking about, a lot of people making predictions on it, and yet we're not seeing the fight really being promoted. We're not really seeing anything about it. I don't know. I personally am bewildered about the fact that, you know, this is supposed to be a big fight. I would have expected that we're going to see, you know, a lot of press behind it. And we don't see anything. We don't see anything, my peoples. I don't like it at all. Panty Sniffer, Tank versus Roach ain't happening at all, bro. Roach wants more bread, and Tank scared. The Nobody. Do you think Tank might be checked out of boxing? I mean, there's people who made comments about Tank Davis right now being focused on his personal life, really thinking about retirement, making investments, buying properties, I think. Like setting himself up for after boxing, which is always going to be a good thing to do that. Is he checked out mentally? It looks like he might be close to it. When not just a fighter, when an athlete in general is talking about retirement, they're close to mentally checking out. Even if they come back or if they keep coming back, but what are the reasons that they come back? Oftentimes it's because of money. It's because they need the money. It's not that, oh, that fire is burning and I really just want to fight again. It's that I'm about to go broke. Well, I'm already broke. I need to fight. The Nobody 92. Do you think Tank might be checked out? Oh, yeah, man. Like I said, bro, I think Tank Davis is maybe close to checking out. I believe possibly the plan was to just retire undefeated the whole time, and at this point, I think the walls are kind of like closing in. Like, how much more can you keep fighting the guys that are not on top? Fans are gonna keep demanding it, no matter how much Tank Davis fan defended. How much longer can you keep doing it? I've heard fans say that Tank Davis was being developed until he was like 29 years old. Nah, he's being developed. He's gonna fight the top dogs, but they developing him. Like, bro. So I think with the walls closing in and the pressure mounting for him to fight those guys, I think with the plan being I'm gonna retire undefeated, it's close. I think it's close. The Nobody 92. What was your thought when our Dominican brother Hector Luis Garcia fought Tank? Personally, thought he was beating Tank up until he told his corner he could see out of his eye. I mean, he was doing good. I don't think honestly that he was gonna win that fight. You know that Tank is a notorious slow starter. Androide Garcia took advantage of that. You could tell that he studied tape. He started off real fast, letting his hands go, landing big shots. But ultimately, Tank was gonna win that fight. Tank was starting to land harder shots on him, and he was gonna win. You gotta remember, Androide Garcia actually was a 130 fighter, just like Lamont Roach, who moved up to 135 to fight Tank Davis. So, you know, like I told y'all, man, Lamont Roach is a cherry pick gone wrong. You brought me up from 130 to get knocked out. He didn't stick to the script. Lamont Roach wasn't having it. Listen, if you watch that fight, you have to acknowledge Lamont Roach put together a near perfect performance versus Tank Davis. You know what it is to stand right there, go toe to toe, blow for blow with the hardest puncher in the division and not get caught with that shot that's gonna end it all. Not catch it. And you right there in front of him, walking him down, where he's trying to counterpunch you. Think about the way that Tank Davis finished Ryan Garcia with a counterpunch. The way he did Frank Martin with a counterpunch. The way he did Rollies with a counterpunch. The way he did Leo Santa Cruz with another counterpunch. That's what he do. Catch you with that shot you don't see coming and you cooked. He could not land that shot on Lamont Roach. There was times, where Tank Davis was actually waiting for him, fight and try. Nope, couldn't do it. Lamont was ready for it. The Nobody 92. Even though Hector Luis was 130, he was actually the bigger, taller man. Hector Luis is 5'9". Tank is 5'6". Yeah, but Hector Luis, like this, he a skinny dude. He a skinny guy. And Tank, like that, like a pit bull. So, it's like you had a pit bull and a Doberman. Yeah, the Doberman is big, but the pit bull is stronger. The pit bull is stronger than the Doberman, my G. But look. All I'm saying is, when it comes to the Tank Davis, Lamont Roach rematch, we're not really seeing anything that tell us that it's actually going to take place. By the way, my peoples, don't forget to hit that like button. I'm about to give y'all this fire. We don't see anything that suggests that this fight is really going to happen. I want you to think about it. Is this fight going to happen? Why? Okay. Tank Davis, to some people, feel like he's the face of boxing. I get people all the time telling me, nah, Tank is the face of boxing. His popularity is up there. He's one of the most popular boxers in the world. So when he fights, it's a big fight. So if there's going to be a rematch, why are we not seeing any promotion behind it? Why are we not seeing, face-off press conferences, them going to different radio stations or shows or to promote the fight? We're literally not seeing anything. We're expecting the rematch because we were told there's going to be one. But what are we seeing to suggest that there's actually going to be a rematch? Benjamin Hernandez in the building. Bam. Dilbert. Tank by KO. I mean, look. I got Lamont Roach winning the rematch because he won the first fight. But we don't know if the rematch is even going to happen. That's what I'm trying to tell you, bro. What are we seeing on TV, on social media, on anywhere from the PBC, from from Amazon Prime, from Tank, from anywhere to show that the rematch is actually happening. So I'm going to tell y'all what this rematch remind me of. MP Mike from Ireland. Be great to see Rolly rematch Tank. I would like to see that rematch. MP, I like that. I would like to see that rematch. Now, let me tell you why I'm concerned about the Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach rematch. What concerns me about it? I want you guys to think about the Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford rematch that was supposed to happen but never did. At first, we knew that there was a rematch clause, right? And Errol Spence decided to exercise it. We already knew that, right? Then we had a date. They were like, okay, this is the date that the rematch is actually gonna take place. Now we got a date for the fight, right? We're excited. We're like, yeah, it's going down. Then we don't have a date anymore. They say it's a later date. Crawford and Spence are still going back and forth because Spence apparently wanted to make the fight at 154. Crawford was like, nah, I'm the winner. It's at 47. So we went from having a date to having another date to we got a rematch, but we don't have a date at all. And then eventually, we saw Errol Spence say, nah, that's it. I'm not doing the rematch. Pulled out. And the rematch never happened. So I want you to see what's going on right here in this situation and compare it to that. The Nobody 92, what's your thoughts on Alberto Puello versus Subriel Matias? I'm going to talk about that in a minute. My brother. I got you. So I want you to consider, I got you, my brother. I want you to consider the fact that right now is very similar the way is going down with Tank Davis and Lamont Roach when we compare to what we saw with Crawford and Spence. Why? Because first, with Tank versus Roach, we had a date. Then that date was pushed forward. And now we don't have a date. So it's playing out in similar fashion. The, the weeks, the months, the time is passing, and we're not getting anything. We're not getting any official announcements, no press conferences. That's the way that Errol versus Crawford rematch played out. The same way this is playing out right now. So that's why I don't feel confident. And then we also have Steven Espinoza say that they were having issues with getting the budget for the card or something along those lines. So I'm concerned. Very much anticipated rematch. We all want to see it. Is it going to happen? I personally don't know. The Nobody 92. What's your thoughts on Alberto Puello versus Subriel Matias? So, two top-level fighters, two elite-level fighters, two world championship caliber fighters who both possess their own tangibles. I would say that to briefly describe each fighter, I would say Subriel Matias is, a straightforward fighter, power puncher, got power in both hands. And he's going to be right in your face. He's a pressure fighter, likes to let his hands go. And just, he has a 100% knockout percentage. Well, what more can we say? Subriel Matias is a top-level guy. And then you have Alberto Puello. Alberto Puello this is the classic matchup of the boxer and the puncher. Alberto Puello is the boxer in this case. You see the top-level footwork. He's going to give you the angles. He's long, rangy, awkward. That long jab is going to be in Subriel Matias' face. And Subriel is going to have to find his way on the inside to let his hands go the way that he likes to. So this is, like I said, a classic matchup of the boxer and the puncher. I believe it's going to be a very good fight, very competitive. I personally got Alberto Puello winning it because of his style. I believe he's going to give Subriel problems. Although I do understand that, and I've got mad respect for Subriel Matias because of the type of fighter that he is. And I do understand that with one punch, he can change the outcome of a fight. There's a reason why he has a 100% knockout ratio. So let's not sleep on Subriel Matias, but based on the skill set, I got my brother, my Dominican brother Alberto Puello. Which, by the way, I keep reminding everybody, because there's people predicting that fight who never seen Alberto Puello fighting. Like how you predicting against a dude that you never seen him fight. Now, granted, we do that all the time. But if a champion is fighting a guy that we never heard of, for example, Shakur fighting Josh Padley, we don't have to see Padley because we know that he is not as experienced and so on and so forth. But when you're talking about a fight of this magnitude, where you know that Alberto Puello is a world champion, you got to take a look at him before you make a prediction, my people. Don't just predict that Subriel Matias is going to smoke him because you don't know him. He's not a big star like that, but the guy can fight. Just check out his win over Gary Antoine Russell. That's why I bring it up. If the moment I tell you he beat Gary Antoine Russell, you got to say, oh shit, let me take a look at this guy. Hold on. Let me not just go against him without knowing what he brings to the table. So Alberto Puello can fight. So can Subriel Matias. I got Puello walking out of there with the W. MP, Tank should fight Timo Lopez. But are they different weight? Not sure. Well, right now, Teofimo fighting at 140, but he's challenging Boots at 147. Tank Davis fighting at 135. So they're not in the same division. They could make that fight happen. Tank Davis could easily go up to 140. He won a title in that division, right? So he could easily go up to 140 and meet Teofimo there. But he's already said that he's not going to fight him. He already used a he's a racist excuse to say that that's why he's not going to fight him. So, no. He already found a way to say, to have a what he feels is a legit reason to not face Teofimo Lopez. I don't know what's his legit reason to not face Devin Haney and what he going to come up to not fight Shakur. But I guess the answer to all that is retiring. He won't have to face any of them. Boxing on paper. I'm so disappointed. I heard the news that Iman Khatiev failed PED test for clomiphene, I think. David Morrell might get a new opponent. My brother, I'm mad disappointed. I was looking forward to this fight. This fighter, Khatiev, had heard a lot about him. And the funny thing is that the main thing that I heard is how hard he hits. What a power puncher, how dangerous he is. And not to see that he popped dirty. Not good, B. No bueno. No bueno, my guy. I don't like that. So I'm disappointed. He's banned from boxing for 2 years. And he deserves it. I think people who pop dirty for steroids should go for more than 2 years. The first one. I think the first one should be at least 5 years. The first one. 5 years. Boom. And the second one, you ban for good. That's it. You ban from the sport of boxing forever. Because 2 years, that's not... Like, if you're 22, 2 years, you're still coming back right there, right in your prime, right in the middle of it, about to hit your prime. It's not really going to take... People be inactive for 2 years for no reason. I want to take a big chunk of your career if you cheat. I hope, by the way, I hope that they're able to get an opponent for David Morrell. Been in training camp, been preparing, putting in the hard work, putting in the investment that it is a training camp to then say, oh, we're not fighting. That money got wasted. So hopefully they can get an opponent. The Nobody 92. What's your thoughts on Zepeda versus Shakur? They said Shakur was looking nervous at that workout. Also, Turkey on his neck about not running. So, Zepeda versus Shakur, we were making predictions about that fight yesterday. I got Shakur winning it. Possibly Oscar Valdez part 2, where it's just complete domination. And the notion that Turkey's going to get people to not run and I find that to be just disrespectful. First of all, there is no running in boxing. Shakur doesn't run. Right? If you don't like a style of boxing, I get it. I get that you don't like that style of boxing, so you call it running, but there's no running. Turkey, you have to understand, he's not a guy. Turkey became involved in boxing, a couple of years ago. Before a couple of years ago, he was just like anybody in this chat, somebody that watches boxing and likes it. But he got a lot of money, so and the connections and the right, pieces in place. So now he's in boxing. That's like any of you guys right now being connected to somebody big, and boom, boom, you're in boxing now, making decisions. That's Turkey. So he's gonna try to, you know, make boxing entertaining, but that no running rule stuff. Look what Crawford said right in front of his face, bro. They asked him, "How are you gonna fight knowing that you can't be?" He was like, "Nobody's gonna tell me how to win. I'm gonna do what I have to do to win this fight." Straight up. You seen it. So Shakur's gonna fight however he has to fight. There's no such thing as running. Especially if you're an undefeated fighter. Like, how are you running and beating all these people? Ah, it's tough to answer that question, bro. It's very tough to explain to me how exactly is Shakur running, but it's 23-0 with 11 knockouts. How do you run and beat everybody? So no, there is no running. That's the number one thing. That's just people who, want to be entertained. You want to be entertained, so you call them a runner because you want to rock 'em, sock 'em robots. There's no such thing as running in one of the most brutal sports that exists. Angry Mexican. Good morning to the legend, Jay Smith. Angry Mexican, salute, my brother. Appreciate you dropping in. So, like I said, my peoples, Shakur Stevenson versus William Zepeda. Maybe Zepeda could make it a little bit interesting. We know that he's a pressure fighter. Zepeda, look. Let's be realistic, right? Zepeda's no bum. He's going to let his hands go. He's going to apply the pressure. He already said that in order to win, he has to win by knockout. He knows that he cannot outbox Shakur. So you're going to see him swinging for the fences. You're going to see him applying the pressure. Trying to cut the ring on Shakur. Trying to corner him. Trying to force him into a slugfest. But Shakur, he's just on another level. The things that Zepeda normally does, Shakur's going to neutralize them. And by the way, Shakur has that chip on his shoulder where, you guys talk about that he runs, that he's boring, that the smaller ring and all that stuff. There's a chip on his shoulder to go out there and perform and be spectacular. So I expect him to go out and show out. The same way he showed out on Valdez, the same way that he did it on Jamel Herring. That's what I'm expecting to see for this fight. But guess what? You see how there's even people predicting that Zepeda is going to beat Shakur and that he's going to be a tough opponent? Watch if Shakur dominates him, how people immediately are going to discredit Zepeda. They'll immediately say, "Oh, nah, Zepeda, who he beat, he's not all that. Shakur didn't, that's not a big win for Shakur anyways." The same people that's telling me, "Yo, word, Zepeda's gonna beat him. Zepeda might even knock him out." When Shakur make it look easy, y'all gonna say Zepeda ain't all that. Let's keep it real. So Turkey putting their neck on boxers, talking about not running. He might be able to pull that shit off in his Turkey league, some type of crazy rule. But in real boxing, there is no running. There's boxing. The Nobody. What's your thoughts on Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano? I'm going to tell you like this, my G. Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano is going to play out just like the first two. They're going to go to war. You see Dmitry Bivol, Arthur Beterbiev, how the first two fights, even though they split wins, but the fights were very close to the way that they play out. Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano is the same thing. They went to war twice. Some felt like Amanda Serrano won the first fight. Some felt like, nah, it should have won in Katie Taylor's favor. I don't know. But what I will say about my thoughts about that fight is that it's great for women's boxing. And people need to tune in. People need to see, high level, the elite fighting each other in women's boxing to understand how good, how competitive it actually is. People be sleeping on women's boxing, my brother. Anybody who's been part of the Box Center family long enough, y'all know I support women's boxing. When it's a big fight, I'm tuning in. I'm calling the fights. All of that. You missing out if you're not watching women's boxing. Cypher 22. Do you think Tank pulling out of the rematch with Roach? It looks like he might end up pulling out, and this is why I think so. Look at this. It's July 10th, right? We're in the month of July. Eddie Hearn already said that Tank Davis is planning a rematch for the end of the year with Jake Paul, I think for November. So if he's going to fight Jake Paul in November, there's a certain window where he has to fight Lamont Roach so that he has enough time to recover and have a training camp for Jake Paul. How is he going to have that window if we're already in July and we're not even seeing no press conferences? We're not seeing no face-off. We're not seeing no promotional ads. We're not seeing absolutely anything. So when are they going to fight? I mean, if Tank Davis and Lamont Roach are going to fight, it has to happen soon. That's my point. I'm not saying it cannot happen. I'm not saying that it won't happen. I don't know that. I don't have insider information. All I'm saying is that right now, if that fight is going to happen, it has to happen soon. When is it going to happen? Not only that, if Tank Davis I'm not going to say if Tank Davis is the face of boxing. Some people consider Tank Davis the face of boxing. Damn, yo. Raining cats and dogs out here. Again, raining season. So, if Tank Davis, as a fighter, right, is going to fight Lamont Roach and is supposed to do a rematch, and we're not seeing him in interviews, we're not seeing him pushing the fight, we're not seeing Lamont Roach going to talk shows or a radio, we're not seeing anything, my people, to suggest that that rematch is actually happening. That's why earlier, Cypher 22, I compared it to Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. You may recall that when Crawford beat him, first they had a date for the rematch. Then they pushed the date forward to a different date because they were arguing about the weight class they were going to do the rematch in. So they pushed the date forward. And then there was no date. They had a rematch going, but there was no date scheduled. And finally, Errol Spence came out and said that he wasn't going to fight that he wasn't going to do the rematch. He pulled out. So now we're getting an identical scenario where first a rematch was actually announced between Tank and Lamont Roach. You guys probably remember. It was officially announced. Poster, everything. Then the date was pushed forward. Just like with Bud and Errol. And after the date was pushed forward, now we don't have a date. Now we're kind of like just figuring out, is there going to be a rematch? Are they going to fight? I don't know. Look, right now we can assume that there's going to be a rematch because nobody has told us that it's canceled. Nobody has told us that they're not going to fight. So is Tank Davis and Lamont Roach, is that rematch going down? The safest answer to that question is we don't know. We honestly don't know. We could say it's happening, but what are you seeing with your own two eyes that tells you that that rematch is happening? When you look at big fights, that's why I mentioned earlier, Devin Haney versus Brian Norman Jr. is happening way in November, my peoples. Way in November. Yet, this Friday, they're already having the first press conference. They're having the first press conference on Friday. So, if they're having a press conference on Friday for a Devin Haney versus Brian Norman Jr. fight that's taking place at the end of the year, when are they going to have the press conference for the Tank Davis fight and Lamont Roach fight when we don't even have a date? And by the way, I'll point out that Steven Espinoza did say that they were struggling with getting the budget. We haven't heard the date. We haven't heard who are the fighters that are going to be on that card. There's a lot of information missing. The Nobody 92 message retracted. Come on, man, and express yourself, my God. Y'all already know, my peoples. This is Boxing for Breakfast, where you get your healthy dosage of sweet science early in the morning, man. Let's talk boxing. What y'all got for me? The Nobody 92. If Tank fights Jake Paul, how bad would this be for Tank's legacy? Look, honestly, I don't think the fighting Jake Paul ruins his legacy. I think the fact that he has avoided fighting the best guys is what affects his legacy. Because I tell you what, if Tank Davis was to, let's say Tank fights Shakur, win, lose, or draw, then he fights Teofimo. Win, lose, or draw, he fights Devin Haney. If he beats 2 out of those 3, that's a great legacy. And then goes on and fight Jake Paul. Fighting Jake Paul is not going to take away that he beat 2 of the biggest names in boxing. You know, it won't take away from it. So what really affects his legacy is that he hasn't fought any. Like, if he retires now, I told people, if Tank Davis was to retire right now, he's not in the Hall of Fame. He's not getting in the Hall of Fame, my people. And every time people tell me, you crazy, you hating, Tank is the best right now, he's getting in the Hall of Fame. The moment we have a conversation about resumes and the people that Tank Davis beat, they start bringing up that Tank is the most famous fighter, that he's the face of boxing, that he put butts in seats. None of these things get you in the Hall of Fame. There is no category in the Hall of Fame for, oh, you made the most money, so you're in. That doesn't exist. Dante Berry, Tank is a great fighter, but he definitely needs to put that work in on them guys. I agree with you 100%, you know, because look, anybody who tries to call me a hater doesn't understand that I always show respect for Tank Davis as a fighter. Está bien, está bien. I always show respect for Tank Davis as a fighter, my peoples. You know, if you ask me, you know, about his skills, about his power, about the things that he's able to do in the ring, his footwork, punch placement. Tank is a special fighter, my people, and I acknowledge that. You know what I'm saying? Don't get it twisted. Yo voy ahí, Lito. So, you never, my people, see me diminishing Tank Davis's skills. I'll be the first to tell you, Tank is a special fighter. He's special. There's no getting around it. But he's a special fighter who doesn't take the risks. He's a special fighter who, for now, seems like his whole career been put together by putting him up against opponents that he's gonna beat, and mostly opponents that he's gonna knock them out. John Parham, salute, my guy. Hit that like button, my peoples. Of course, man, y'all know y'all don't need to duck that like button the same way Tank Davis be ducking Shakur. That's all I'm saying. The Nobody, I don't think it hurts his legacy if he fights Shakur and rematch Roach. Yeah, I agree with that, John Parham. You know, if Tank Davis fight the big dogs, it's not gonna hurt his legacy to go get a bag against Jake Paul. You know, the only reason that he is affected is because he hasn't fought any of the best, man. And Tank is already 30 years old, so we want to see it. We want to see it already. We're tired of, you know, not all of us. I know that Tank Davis fans, they're cool with him fighting anybody. But most people want to see Tank fight, you know, the guys. The Shakur Stevenson, the Teofimo Lopez, the Devin Haney. Come on now, it's time. Boxing on paper. Is Xander Sayers ready for a world title shot? Yeah, I believe so, my brother. I believe so. Honestly, and you know what? I love the fact that Xander Sayers, he's gunning for the big dogs. Look, he want to fight Fondora. He wanted to face off with Fondora and everything. And it looks like Fondora and them, they don't want that. They don't want that action. But I would say that Xander Sayas, he's one of those special fighters too. I believe it. Xander is a young fighter who, he has great ring IQ, power, good movement, also got punch placement. By the way, I tell people, man, Xander Sayas, his left hook is almost identical to Tito Trinidad. Remember that I told you that, my people. Watch a video of the way, and I'm gonna try to give you guys a little demo of the left hook so you can see exactly what I'm referring to. But Xander Sayas, man, the way that he does it. Hold on, let me put this over here. Give you guys try to give you guys a little demo and shit. Here we go. Those guys avoid Tank. I don't know why would you say those guys avoid Tank, my brother. When all of them call out Tank, and Tank never calls them out, never sends a contract, and never says that he wants to fight them. So if you're clearly a Tank Davis fan, but that's cap, my brother. Ain't nobody avoiding Tank. Everybody want to fight Tank because he's the biggest ticket in boxing. He's the biggest payday in boxing. It's like Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez being the face of boxing, everybody wants in on the Canelo sweepstake because they know they're gonna get a life-changing payday. You know what it is if you've been fighting for 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, and now you're gonna fight for $5 million, $6 million, even $2, $3 million when you never seen millions. Fighting these guys can change your life, my brother. I don't know. I don't know where you got that people are ducking Tank. I'm telling you, my brother. Whoever told you this lied to you. They a liar. They lied to you. Tell me who told you, and I'll tell them for you that they lied. ¿Quieres hacer caca? Give me a second, my peoples. Oh, man. Vamos a ayudarte a quitarte el pantalón, man. Vamos a ayudarte. Hold on, my peoples. I'm with my son taking care of business. So, Michael Lee, bro, I don't know how you got, that idea that everybody's avoiding Tank when you see Shakur Stevenson. Hold on one second, my people. So, how Michael Lee, bro, okay, you're saying that you follow boxing, but go ahead and tell me why do you feel like other people are ducking Tank when they're calling him out and he's not calling them out, sending them contracts, or saying that he wants to fight them? You never seen Tank saying that he want to fight any of those people. Can you tell me when have you seen Tank saying that he want to fight Shakur? Or when have you heard Tank saying that he want to fight Teofimo? Or that he's going to get in the ring with Devin? You never seen that. So you watch boxing, but you never watched that. So how did you come up with that conclusion, bro? Yo me voy a poner aquí para verte. Dante's boxing talk. Certain guys, Tank will never fight. Shakur, Keyshawn, Tio, I don't believe he will never fight these guys. I don't believe so either. Unless the only way that I think it might be possible if they just offer him a bag that is just too insane, too crazy. Like if they say, yo, we're going to give you 50 mil to fight Shakur. Maybe something crazy like that might convince him. But Tank don't want to fight none of them people, man. And look, he don't want to fight none of them people, and then his fans will straight up say that it's them that don't want to fight him. Like, that's crazy. We're seeing it in front of our face, how all these guys want to fight him, and he don't want to fight them. Everybody knows. Like, it's almost like you got to be delusional to think that it's Tank, that Tank want to fight them. Like, that's delusional. There's absolutely nothing to suggest that Tank Davis want to fight any of the top fighters. And the funny thing is, my peoples, Tank Davis is in the unique position. Damn, man, that damn tablet. Tank Davis is in the unique position where he's such a star that he can pick his opponent. He can fight whoever he wants. So if Tank Davis wanted to fight Shakur next, he could get that fight next. If he wanted T.O. Devin, he could get whatever fight he wants. He don't want it. That's how we know that he's ducking these guys. He doesn't want it. He can fight whoever he wants. He chose not to fight any of those guys. Chose. Just think about it like that. Boxing on paper. I actually think Fundora is a bit overrated. I'll eat my words if he looks good in this rematch. But I thought in his first fight with Zhu was closer than it should have been, considering Zhu's cut. Nah, bro, I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that. Just because Zhu was cut doesn't mean that he wasn't, a great fighter in front of Fundora, letting his hands go and being a warrior. He come on, man. He was in front of a great Zhu. Is right now it seems like you're underestimating Zhu. Even though he was bleeding, but he still was a dangerous fighter in front of Fundora. I say that Fundora is without a doubt one of the best in the 154 division. Without a doubt. Okay. Good job. Michael Libro, yes, Tank says they are last 5 fights. Michael, listen. Michael Libro, it's crazy that you're saying that Tank says they're his last 5 fights. You see how you definitely look, man. Don't deny being a Tank fan because now you're arguing in Tank favor. You see how you're saying Tank says those are his last 5 fights. Tank also said that he was retiring. Did you forget that, bro? Did you forget that Tank said he was retiring? So you're over here talking about what Tank says. Don't be nitpicking what Tank says at your convenience, my guy. Because after he said that those were on his mythical list, he already said he was retiring. Why are you forgetting that part? So Tank Davis already talking about retiring without fighting any of those guys. Yeah, you're talking about they're the ones ducking him. That don't make no sense, bro. That don't make no sense at all, my guy. You're making up. That's what I'm telling you. You're making up the logic based on the fighter that you like and the fighter that you like, not based on what's actually happening. Michael Libro, Shakur asked 10 million. That was a lie, Michael Libro. Either you're lying right now or somebody lied to you. You see, when you're a hater, you got to make up stuff because the truth is not going to match up. That never happened. Shakur never asked for no 10 million. In fact, he's on video after Lomachenko pulled out of the fight. Shakur's on video saying, yo, I'm not even asking him for a number. Send the contract. I'm going to sign it. Send it. Then right. Then. Send the contract. I'm going to sign it. Guess what? They never sent the contract. They never try to fight him. So, Michael Lee, bro, if you want to debate, look, just earlier you were saying that you wasn't a Tank fan. And guess what? You're right. You're not a Tank fan. You're a Tankomaniac. You're a Tankomaniac. How I know you're a Tankomaniac? Because to defend Tank, you even lie. You lie right now talking about Shakur asked for 10 million. That never happened. He never asked for 10 million. You see, y'all Tankomaniacs, y'all be wilding out. Ryan, súbete el pantalón y los pantaloncillos. Súbetelo. No, súbetelo, que tú eres un niño grande. Come on now. Go. Bro says Shakur asked for 10 million. Y'all be making stuff up out of thin air, bro. You see, Michael Lee, bro, that's the problem with saying, I watched boxing for a long time. Yeah, you watch boxing for a long time, but that don't mean you can make stuff up out of thin air, bro. Like, where you get this? Like, come on, bro. Like, what you think, that you watched boxing a long time ago and I wasn't watching it when the things you said happened? I just wasn't around at that time? Come on now. Stop. Y'all gotta, look, Tankomaniacs gotta stop making stuff up out of thin air just to defend Tank. Siéntate. Cámbialo. Siéntate. For real, my peoples. Y'all gotta stop making stuff up just to defend Tank. He been ducking everybody. Been ducking all of the best. And now he might fight Jake Paul before fighting any of the best. James Giblin, New Zealand in the house. Bam! Michael Libro with the next Tankomania logic. Oh, Teal 145 and Haney 147. Also, Tank can move up and be great. He 30 years old, clinging on to the 135 division like a weight bully. He can't move up. You see that you're a Tankomaniac. I showed you. All you do is focus on everybody else and not on Tank cherry picking ways. Shakur Stevenson is at 135 right now. Why Tank ducking him? Stop making up lies about 10 millions that never happened. A $10 million Shakur asking for 10 mil never happened. So you already got caught in a lie, my brother. You said that those guys are in a different division. Shakur's at 135. So you see, all you got is excuses. Tankomaniacs come up with too many excuses to defend his cherry picking ways. Jamie Giblin, New Zealand is in the house, my brother. I appreciate you tuning in. Michael Libra, I'm not a hater, bro. I'm a fan of Shakur. Bro, you're definitely a hater of Shakur and a Tankomaniac. You don't see your whole... You have... Okay, if it smells like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, if it swims like a duck, it's a duck. You're here spreading Tankomaniac logic, talking about, nah, yo, Tankomaniac, Shakur asked for $10 million. Shakur Stevenson fans ain't making lies up about him. You're not a Shakur fan. Come on now. You're in the classic Shakur hater and a Tankomaniac. Stop it. You already got identified the moment you started with the Tankomaniac logic, bro. Stop. Kenneth Harvin. I don't think Tank planned on fighting the other kings. Roach interrupted his plan. If Tank would have beaten Roach, he was going to fight Jake Paul for the big money and left the sport. You see, Kenneth Harvin, what happened is that what you're saying is based off of logic and based off of what's happening in real life. I agree with you 100%. That is a sound logic. You're not doing a Michael Libro on us and making shit up out of thin air about money Shakur never asked for, lying to create your own narrative. You're not doing the Tankomaniac logic stuff. You're calling it how you see it. Think about it. Jake Paul himself said that he was at the fight and that him and Tank Davis had already agreed that when he beat Lamont Roach, he was going to climb the ring and they were going to announce that they would be fighting each other. And he then said that the fight between them was only pushed forward until Tank can take care of the rematch and then they'll handle that. So the plan all along was for Tank to fight, cherry pick Lamont Roach from the 130 division, knock him out, move up, fight Jake Paul, get the bag, and retire. He told us that he's going to retire. While Tankomaniacs are delusional, defending every move he makes, he told us that he's retiring without fighting any of the best. Look, Michael Libro was telling us, nah, yo, they're on the list. They're on the last 5 on the list. And Tank Davis talking about fighting Lamont Roach and retiring after Jake Paul. What list are you talking about, bro? Y'all delusional. Y'all delusional. Jamie Giblin, Michael loves it in the bum. He love himself Tank Davis, man. He love himself Tank Davis. Bro, trust me, you love Tank Davis. Everything you saying, you're a Tankomaniac. You don't have to be. That's what's funny. Like, Tankomaniacs is like y'all want to be Tankomaniacs in the closet. Yo, come on. You spreading every single logic that a Tankomaniac does. Every single logic. Oh, that these guys are in bigger weight class. Look at Hash Bash. The biggest Tankomaniac in here, everything he says, you already said it, bro. Trying to say that the other guys are in different divisions so Tank can't fight them. Trying to find all the excuses why Tank can't fight the best guys. You're already using those excuses. So yes, bro, yes. Tankomaniac 100%. Hagler never moved up. You're right, Hagler never moved up, but he was already in a high division. Hagler was not a weight bully. As you may recall, Tank Davis lost a title at 130 because he couldn't make weight anymore. Remember that? Remember him losing the title because he couldn't make weight? You didn't know. I'm enlightening you.
Papá, cómprame un huevo de plastilina. Cómpramelo todo lo que tiene algo verde, lo que tiene a ti y lo que come.
Okay, I'm going to get it for you. Go watch your cartoons.
Y dame un palito.
Jamie Giblin, Tank is scared. Front line, Tank has the most padded record. And I tell you what, Tank has beaten a lot of good opponents, my peoples. I'm not going to knock him. He's beaten good opponents, but he hasn't faced any of the best. He has stayed away from fighting all of the best. in any divisions that he fought. Look where he went to 140. Josh Taylor was the undisputed champion in the division. He fought Mario Barrios for a secondary title, for a trinket. Come on now. The Nobody 92. Michael Libro, oye, yo no soy mentiroso, ok, tranqui. No es que tú eres mentiroso, manito, es que la gente alguna vez inventa mentiras para defender los peleadores que le gustan. When you said that Shakur Stevenson asked for 10 million, tú estabas siendo un mentiroso. You was being a liar, because that's a lie. Shakur never asked for no 10 million. You made that shit up out of thin air, bro. Or somebody lied to you and you believed it, and now you spreading lies. The Nobody, oh shit, are those the boxing medals, Jay Smith? Oh, nah, that's from running. That's running marathons. Running marathons, 10K, 21K. You know, I'm a runner, my guy. Ran a lot of events. Jamie Gibley. What are all the medals in the background, bro? That's from running. I'm a runner. So I've ran in a lot of events. Marathons, half marathons, 10K, 5K. 23. Is Morel off? Confirmed? So right now, we don't know what's going to happen. We know that Khatiev is probably going to... They're already saying that he's going to be banned for like 2 years. So to me, this fight is not happening. I mean, what I think is that they're probably scrambling to get Morel an opponent. They haven't announced it. So Morel may actually not even fight. We're going to see how that plays out. But I'm pretty sure they're trying to get him an opponent. Front line. The Nobody 92, we will see Saturday how long Puello can keep the boxing class for Matias by no Matias. Listen, Sobriel Matias is a special fighter. He's very strong. You know, he's the type of fighter that can change the outcome of a fight with one punch. Alberto Puello got, got them skills. He can box, he can move, got that footwork. He can be awkward, he can be rangy. I feel like he is going to give Subriel problems. And I'm rocking with Alberto Puello to win that fight. That's what I'm rocking with. But I'm also there's a little bit of bias because I'm Dominican, Alberto Puello is Dominican, and there's that rivalry between DR and PR. But besides the little bit of bias that there is automatically there, I do feel like Alberto Puello has the skill set to outbox Uriel Matias, take him the distance, and win the fight in the cards. Boxing on paper. Which fight do you think could have best build up? Canelo Plant versus Jermall Charlo or versus Edgar Berlanga? Honestly, I thought they all had a pretty good build up. Honestly, I thought that they all had, they did a pretty good job. The PBC has done a good job with promotional, with promoting their fights, but sometimes you just don't know what's going on. Like right now with Tank Davis and Lamont Roach with that rematch, it seems like we just don't know what's happening. We don't know what's gonna happen. Dante's boxing talk. Last thing Tank said, he don't have a list. It's true. He don't have a list, man. Another thing, Michael Lee, bro. You see your list that you brought up earlier, that got debunked too. Tank already said he don't got no damn list. And you talk about, nah, they like in the last 5 in the list. There ain't no list, bro. There ain't. Now, what I need you to understand, Michael Lee, bro, is that Tank is already 30 years old. Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, and Teofimo Lopez are all in their 20s. They've all faced more reigning champions than Tank Davis, and they're all more accomplished than Tank Davis in their 20s. Tank is 30 and still a 30-year-old prospect. Who are your best? I'll tell you who are my best. Number 1, Terrence Crawford. Number 2, look, I could say, I'm gonna give you 3. Terrence Crawford, Naoya Inoue, Alexander Usyk. Right there. Right there you got 3. Compare any of those resumes to Tank Davis' resume. I'll wait. The Nobody. Frontline, Matias don't have the boxing skills to beat Puello. Puello going to take Matias to school. The frontline, Matias don't have. But you also got to remember, Matias has the power to hurt not just Puello, anybody. Michael Lieber, oye, I heard it on Mill City. You heard what on Mill City, my brother? My bad. I guess I read your comment late. Frontline. Tan has beat the good opponents by either bringing them up or down out of their weight class. He hasn't fought a good opponent in their actual weight class. No, he's fought a good opponent in their weight class. He's also moved people around to his convenience. He's done that a lot in the rehydration clause and all that stuff. We know about that. But at the end of the day, it just boils down to it. We know who the top dogs are. He ain't faced any of them. And he ain't faced any of them because he chose to. He ain't faced any of them because he didn't want to. That's the problematic piece of information, Michael Libro, that you ignore. Tank Davis is the type of star, the few in boxing, who can fight whoever he chooses to. And he chooses not to fight the guys. It's as simple as that. You know that. I know that. We all know that. We don't have to beat around the bush and act like we don't know. Kenneth Harvin. Tank could have fought Loma years ago, but didn't want to fight him. Now when Loma is old and on the way out, that's a fact. Tank Davis dug Lomachenko for like 4 or 5 years. Now when this guy got 1 foot out the door, yeah, what's up? Let's fight now. Let's fight. And it's, that's what I like about Tank Davis fans. Tankomaniacs. They'll tell you, right, that Sean Porter was washed when Crawford beat him. But when Lomachenko was about to fight Tank, they were like, yeah, don't duck, fight him. So Lomachenko wasn't washed to fight Tank Davis. But he was older than Sean Porter at that time. Lomachenko like 37 years old. Sean Porter 34 when he fought Crawford. So Porter was washed, but Loma wasn't washed because y'all wanted Tank to beat him up. You see, y'all wanted when Loma wanted to fight him, when he was washing everybody, nobody, Tank Davis fans, wasn't saying fight him. But then when Loma was with 1 foot out the door, yeah, go fight him. Nasty work. Angry Mexican. Tank should just wait till Shakur beats Zepeda and fight him after. That's what we all want to see. We want to see. You know how long I've been calling for Tank Davis versus Shakur, man. You go down the list in this channel, man, and I must have posted like 10 videos about that subject. About me being tired of that fight not happening. Michael Lee, bro, coaches were talking. Man, you're not really saying nothing with that, bro. Angry Mexican. Morel was at the open workout yesterday. I mean, let's see. Let's see if they're able to get him an opponent. It's on a very short notice, but it can happen. We saw how quick Josh Padley was able to step in and fight Shakur. The same with Bacoli. With Martin Bacoli, remember he saved the day for... Who was it that he stepped in for? Was it for Big Bang Zhang? Who was it that Bacoli stepped in for? I can't remember right now, but I know that Bacoli saved the day too. So let's see. Let's see. Maybe somebody can come up. Jamie Giblin, Usyk, best boxer in the world. Well, he's a great fighter, and you can make an argument. There's an argument that can be made for that. Frontline, Morel is fighting. Iman Khatiev has fought 4 times in so-called dirty urine. People like that, man, need to be kicked out of boxing for a very, very long time. In boxing, when it comes to steroids, there should be 1 suspension for 5 years, and the second one you're banned from the sport for good. Frontline, the doping was from, I believe, the IBA or some Russian boxing sanctioning, and supposedly they were upset he left to Australia, and that's where the accusation of doping came from. CHS, what's worse as boxer? Elbow grow or knee grow? I think the worst is when you get blocked out of the best boxing channel for corny stuff. Peace. BMF Inc. Daniel Dubois. Yo, Daniel Dubois can fight. He's gonna have a realistic opportunity to beat Usyk. That's gonna be a very interesting fight, my people. Fred. Hello from Ireland. Salute, my brother. Appreciate you dropping in. And shout out to everybody in Ireland who's been showing up. I don't know how you guys are even finding me, but I really appreciate you. You know it, my brother. This is Boxing for Breakfast, where you get your healthy dosage of sweet science early in the morning. El Rodriguez, Crawford gonna get KO. I mean, that's your opinion. When you watch Canelo beat him up, I just hope that you show up to the live and say, yo, I'm the guy. I'm one of the people that thought that Canelo was going to KO him. You thought that Errol Spence was going to KO him too, and you saw what happened. But you didn't learn from that. You should have learned, my brother. You should have learned when you predicted that Errol Spence was too big and Errol Spence was going to beat him up and knock him out. And you saw how that fight played out. You should have learned, El Rodriguez. Now you're going to have to be taught again what Terrence Crawford is able to do. All right? Suit yourself, my guy. Suit yourself. All I've been saying is every single person who says Canelo's going to knock Crawford out, Canelo's going to wash him, show up to the live on September 14th. Y'all going to get cooked. It's going to be a roast session for y'all. All that stuff y'all talking, I can't wait. Look, El Rodriguez, you see when you say stuff like that, Crawford gonna get KO. When he beats Canelo, September 14th, I'm sitting here live waiting for you, and you don't show up. And then you show up and you just stay quiet. You don't even hop on the chat because you're embarrassed that you thought Canelo was gonna knock him out. Why do you forget? Why do you forget, El Rodriguez, that two people already made it look easy against Canelo? Why do you forget that? John Parham, I don't see any KOs. I don't see any KOs either. It can happen. Anything can happen in boxing, but I don't see it. I see the fight going the distance. Frontline, you should swing through tonight to Round 1 Sport Talk, and let's chop it up. We could do it, my G, of course. Of course, my G. We'll link up. Send me a message. Send me a message. One of my videos. You can send me your WhatsApp or Oh, as a matter of fact, hold on. Let me grab. Look, I'm gonna show you my IG so you can hit me up. Send me hold on. You can send me a DM on Instagram. We'll make something happen. Check it out right there. That's my Instagram, my peoples. By the way, I'll be posting right there. I'll be going at it. There you go. So the Instagram is jsmith134. Well, J_Smith134. Superman. Good morning, Jay. Salute, my brother. Appreciate you dropping in, man. You already know what it is. We talking boxing. We doing what we do. John Parham. I see it going to the cards. Yeah, me too, my G. I see it going the distance simply because when you have two fighters that are at the highest level, great fighters, it's easy to see it going the distance because neither guy has ever been stopped. And they're both fighting at the highest level. So I don't see a stoppage. Unless somebody lands a big shot and really hurts the opponent. Oh, but I don't see it. The Nobody 92, Jay Smith. Why don't you go on other boxing channels to do interviews or boxing talks? You would be great. You know your shit. So I was on Blue Blood Sports. I was on Blue Blood Sports recently. Oh, no, actually, it wasn't that recently. It was a few months ago, but I've been on Blue Blood Sports TV. I was on Mill City, but I was on Mill City Boxing just once. So I've been on a couple of other platforms here and there. It's just that, listen, it's not on me, honestly. I'm I'm really open to working with people. It's just that I guess maybe right now I don't have the popularity, so people don't know me. They like, and the thing is, bro, when people don't know you, they like, oh, who is this guy? He probably just talking. He don't know boxing like that. They don't know that I was an amateur boxer. They don't know that I had a fight as a professional, that I'm around professional fighters, coaches, trainers, all that stuff. They don't know that. They just assume, who is this guy? I don't know him. He probably don't even know boxing. But little by little, people start to see me. They start to, okay, damn, this guy know his shit. They start rocking with me. You seen I did an interview with Zap Judah. He rocking with me. And well, a few other people. With a few other people. Clarissa Shield be rocking with me too. John Parent, Jay Smith. Check out Coach Malachi live yesterday. Some serious heat about Mama Holyfield. Ooh, I'ma check it out. I'ma check it out. John Parham, Superman, crazy work, bro. And we at where we at, my peoples. Hold on. Frontline, Berlanga KO Shakur. Berlanga KO. Oh, okay. Berlanga by KO. Shakur by UD. Matias by No Mask. Morel by stoppage. You're welcome. Hold on, I'm putting it on for you right now. So I'm gonna tell you what I got. Shiraz by UD. Shakur by UD. And Puello by UD. Morel by KO. There you have it. That's what I got for you, my brother. We're gonna compare picks. And the reason I pick Hamza Shiraz is because I've been down on Berlanga. Just people look at his loss versus Canelo Alvarez, but not just that. He lost versus the best. That's not a big deal. But I want you to look at the difference. My boy picked me over here. Hold on, Ryan. Hold on. Hold on, my people. I'm over here. Look, mopping it. I'm over here being a daddy, my peoples. Hold on, Ryan. Cause Ryan, I don't want you to fall. I don't want you to slip and fall. Be careful. The floor is wet. Okay, clean that little bit right there. The Nobody 92. I think Berlanga lacks boxing skills, technique. So, look, I agree with that. I think that he lacks a little bit of technique, a little bit of the mechanics. Um, I just consider the fact that not just the way that he lost to Canelo, but I want to make that comparison for you guys of the way that David Morrell lost to Benavidez. Look at the difference in those fights. If you could see, Morrell was actually taking it to Benavidez. Morrell was actually trying to win that fight. Berlanga, to me, it came across like he was just trying to make it the distance, as opposed to risk it and get stopped. Ain't made it the distance, but it wasn't, you know, he got dominated. He got made to look easy. So, I think David Morrell showed that he's cut from that same cloth. Even though he lost in a competitive fight where he went to war with a bigger, stronger fighter. And in that loss, he still looked good. The nobody, Jay Smith, will you ever put Ryan into boxing? At some point, I will put him into boxing. But I'm not going to put him into boxing, with world championship aspirations. And what I say is, if he falls in love with it and he wants to keep doing it, he wants to keep competing, and it turns into that, great. We'll go that route. But if it's something that a sport that he's not in love with and he doesn't want to do it, I'm not gonna force it upon him. I'm not gonna make him box because that's what I want him to do. I'm gonna teach him to be his own man and do whatever he wants to do in life. Front line, Adames beat Shiraz and was gifted the draw. Look, I agree with you 100%. I feel like Adames beat Shiraz, but Edgar Berlanga ain't fight no Carlos Adames in his career, my guy. If you look at the best he fought was Canelo Alvarez, and he lost. But before that, who's the best opponent that he faced? He didn't fight nobody in Carlos Adames' caliber. Berlanga actually was a boxer before a power puncher. Y'all will be surprised Saturday. So frontline, let me tell you something. Let me tell you why I've been disappointed in Berlanga. I want you to think back about a couple of fights before he faced Canelo. He faced, and it didn't just happen once. It happened a couple of times. He faced guys that we never heard of, lower level guys that gave him problems. we watched him go the distance, go the distance, or stop a guy late that was putting all type of hands on him. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Honestly, if he beats Shiraz, he's gonna make me a believer again. Right now, I'm not a believer. I'm not. I still got question marks about Edgar Berlanga. Tofik, hello from Russia. Russia's in the building. Salute, my brother. Bam. Appreciate you dropping in. Legnares, the Naughty West. So that's my take on that, my people. That's my perspective. I think that Edgar Berlanga is a very good fighter, but right now I don't know if he's one of the guys at the top, one of the la creme de la creme, as they say. I feel like right now he might be one of those real good fighters who doesn't beat the best. Thank you, Ryan. He might be one of those fighters who he's really good. He beat all the average Joes, but when he get to the top guys, he get beat. Hold on, Ryan. Let me put your shoes on. Come on, let's get your shoes. What's your shoes? Where are they? Your shoes. Where are your shoes? Oh, no, we have to go already. Sit right here next to me. Hold on one second. Hold on, my peoples, because, boxing for breakfast, y'all know it's unfiltered. So I'm over here doing the live with chat and getting my son ready for school, because, being a daddy go first. Imara, I know you're going for Shakur, but how does Zepeda win against him? So, for the keys to victory for William Zepeda is for him to apply relentless pressure. Zepeda has to be in Shakur's face all night long. He has to look for ways to try to hurt him. He has to. If Zepeda cannot hurt Shakur, it's virtually impossible for him to outbox him. Virtually impossible. So he has to hurt him. If you're able to hurt him, then he's not gonna be able to operate the way he normally does, and then Zepeda has a chance to win the fight. Front line, I get it. That's the beautiful thing of the boxing community. Everyone has their opinion, and after the fights, we can get together and talk shit to each other respectfully. Facts, my brother. Facts. That's the thing, though. There's people that they can handle trash talk, and we go back and forth and have a good time with it. And then there's people who just can't handle it, who just don't know how to act. Who start, with personal insults and acting stupid. Tofik, where are you from? My brother, I'm from the Dominican Republic. Olaf Schof, who do you think is going to win? Gervonta or Roach? My brother, I don't even know if Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach is going to happen. Honestly, I just don't even know if it's going to happen because I don't see no promotion, no nothing to say that it is. I predicted Lamont Roach winning that fight. I feel like he could win the rematch. Gabriel Pujoy. Bro, after Canelo, Berlanga gets confident. I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out. I want to see him fight. Like I said, man, Hamza Shiraz, if you take away Canelo Alvarez's fight, Hamza Shiraz is going to be Edgar Berlanga's toughest opponent. He ain't fighting nobody, that good. Let's see. Prove yourself. Show us what you got. Shayla Messer, and I love Thanos. Who let Dana be the main promoter for Crawford versus Canelo? I don't even know, man. I don't know how they decided that somebody who's never been involved in boxing is gonna promote the biggest fight in boxing. I don't know. I guess they figure, he does real good in MMA, and that's also a combat sport. Let's get it. Frontline, yeah, people get emotional. Oh, people get way too emotional, bro. I told somebody that Tank Davis' resume is not better than Devin Haney's, and the dude was ready to fight. You want to fight? I'll meet up with you. Well, I'm from this place. Show up. Pull up. Like, bro, it's not that serious, baby. We talking boxing over here. Domingo Bonilla, y'all ain't hype about the old women card tomorrow on Netflix. Man, listen, I've been telling people I support women boxing. I enjoy women boxing. I don't support women boxing just because they're women. It's because they give us good quality boxing. You know, I know that there's a lot of fans who feel like, oh, women boxing is boring. Nah, my peoples, you got to give them a chance. Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor, you know, they went to war 2 times. Just this is my people's right here. Y'all see, this is uncut. This is live. I gotta get some other cartoons that he wants to watch. Oh my goodness, Ryan, why you doing me like this? Want that one? Hold on, man. You don't know what you're doing over here. My people, this kid got me tripping with this tablet over here. My goodness, man. Frontline. I'm not a Haney fan. Fan at all. But I give Haney respect for taking the fight others turned down. Listen, man, we gotta give Devin respect his Haney. We gotta give Devin Haney his respect because you have to think about this, man. This guy, Brian Norman Jr., is coming off of possibly the knockout of the year, one of the most explosive knockouts. ¿Qué tú estás inventando, Ryan? Pues tú le estás dando, vamos a ver ese, mira, ya, ese que tú vas a ver, mira.
No estoy malo.
Ese tú lo vas a ver, ya, déjalo ahí. You know.
Pero mi mamá me dijo que tú malo, mamá.
No, yo te estoy buscando uno bueno, mira. Ah, ese es malo, pues vamos a buscarte. No, yo sé. Hold on, my peoples. Let me get some cartoons, because we're almost done with this live. I'm about to drop some hot fire on you guys, but I got to take care of my son. Y'all know how it go, man. Got to be a daddy. Ya, esto es lo que tú vas a ver. Hold on, my people. Venga, muñequito ahí. MS, facts. Some women boxers fight with more than men boxers. Yo, women boxers are exciting. There's exciting fights all the time in women boxing. Tune in, support. Old school. Olaf shows. Olaf shows. What you mean, bro? The fight not happening, though the rematch is in 16 August. That's the thing, my brother. That's the date that was reported. But I'm going to ask you, Olaf, have you seen any promotion for that fight? Have you seen them doing face-offs? Have you seen them doing press conferences? I want you to think about this. Devin Haney and Brian Norman Jr. are fighting in November. That's at the end of the year, right? In November. Bro, they're already holding the first press conference this Friday. On Friday, they're holding the press conference. So, how is it possible that Tank Davis and Lamont Roach are about to fight in August? We're already in June. We're already in July. Are you telling me they're fighting next month and we haven't seen a single press conference? No, déjalo ahí ya. Déjalo ahí. Are you telling me that they're going to fight next month already? And we don't have a single presser? A single face-off? Nothing? It doesn't look like it's happening, bro. Loco, ponle los muñequitos. Ya, está activo con su muñequito. He got Peppa the Pig going on. Domingo Bonilla. There's a few underdog women fighters that I'm putting my money on. Odds are crazy. Lost money on the Harlem Eubank loss. Shaking my head. Need to make that up. Yo, Harlem Eubank, bro, I was totally disappointed because I had only seen highlights of him. And in the highlights, he looked pretty good. But I always say, never judge a fighter by highlights because obviously it's, edited content where you're seeing the best parts. Espérate, yo lo cambio ahora. So never go by the highlights. Harlem Eubank fought like a fool. He was clowning too much, laughing, posing, not doing anything. Harlem Eubank, he didn't make no new fans with that performance. Yoda, since you said Crawford is gonna win, you think he'll vacate or defend against Ambil? Honestly, I'm not sure. Because after beating Canelo, I don't know if he's gonna choose to, retire, move down maybe to 160 before going to 154 again, or again, man, Crawford's star power has exploded since he beat Errol Spence, and it's going to only expand after this historic victory. So he's gonna have so many options. I don't know what he decides to do next. I don't honestly. I don't even know. That type of win. How do you follow up a win like that one? I think if I was Terence Crawford, I might retire because that's such a big win that's it. Let's call it a day. We got it. We got it. Mr. Riz currently doing Mike Tyson footwork drills. That's good. That's good stuff. Footwork is very important. Basi Bonilla, super disappointed. I really thought he had it because Catterall is overrated. Nah, I don't think Catterall is overrated. He's not. People don't like him for whatever reason, but he's not overrated, man. Catterall can fight. He fought Josh Taylor twice, beat him the second time around, was robbed of a victory in the first fight. You don't fight this guy and put hands on him, if you're not that good. Jack Catterall can fight. Boxing Bonilla. Hola, I'll tell you this much. If it doesn't happen, that's on Tank Davis. Lamont ready. Oh no, Lamont want to make that fight. Of course. That's a career payday for him. And he feels like he could beat Tank. I feel like he could beat Tank. Based on the first fight, what I saw, the way that it played out, I have Lamont Roach putting the Swiss, the Dre, and the Apple beats on Tank Davis, my people. That's just how I see it playing out. Yoda, yo, you see how much bigger Shiraz is compared to Berlanga? Well, but you also have to take into account that Shiraz is slim. He got that tall, slim frame. And Berlanga has that wider. So Berlanga looks stronger. Shiraz look bigger because he's taller, but Berlanga looks stronger than him. My peoples, I'm about to end this live. I got to take my little one to school. Y'all already know how I always like to end it, giving a shout out to everybody who showed up, showing love to your boy Jay Smith, John Parham. And by the way, a lot of people in the chat, John Parham, I agree, man, ducking that like button, like Tank Davis ducking Shakur. Y'all got to stop doing that. But I want to give a shout out to everybody who tuned in today. Y'all already know, Boxing for Breakfast. This live is for you guys to interact, to debate, to argue, to trash talk about all of these great fights that we got coming up. Domingo Bonilla, have a good day, brother. So shout out to everybody who tuned in. Domingo Bonilla, John Parham, Ramirez, Gabriel Pujroy, D. Willer. Top of the morning, D. Willer. I didn't see you earlier. My brother Yoda. Who else showed up this morning, man? Domingo Bonilla was in the building. Mr. Riz was in the house. Ola shows. MS, my boy trying to get me out of here. Tofik from Russia was in the house as well. I appreciate you tuning in, my G. Yo, listen. Box Center, I don't even know how this is happening. We got a little bit over 1,500 subscribers. Yeah, we got people tuning in from Africa. Yo, listen. Salute to everybody tuning in from Africa. Everybody tuning in from Canada. Everybody tuning in from Australia. Everybody tuning in from Mexico, from South America. I don't know what's going on, but wherever you tuning in all over the world, I appreciate you. One love. Boxing is a universal sport. By someone to get me out of here. Yo, my peoples, I gotta go, man. Te lo quito. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe.
Es lo que tiene la patita,
El Spider-Man que tiene la patica. You want the Spider-Man that got the little legs in the back? He want to watch Spider-Man, my peoples. Let me get on his Spider-Man, y'all. Hold on. Hold on, because I haven't closed out the show yet. I haven't closed out the show. I got to do my proper closing. So let me find him, his Spider-Man, and then we could get with that. Spider-Man. Boom. Which one you want to see? Ooh, you want to see this one? Tell me, which one you want to see?
Lo que tiene una patita para
Ah, pero I don't know where I don't know where it is.
Búscalo.
You want me to find it? Okay, so you try to find it. See if you can find it. Let me finish the show, man. The people waiting for me to finish the show, Ryan. Stop playing with me. Tofik, good health and respect, bro. Ems, some women boxers. Oh, okay. So again, my peoples, I'm out of here. I appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. You already know, man. This is Boxing for Breakfast, where you get your healthy dosage of sweet science early in the morning. I'm going to see y'all tomorrow, man. We're going to talk boxing. We're going to do what we do. Peace.